Yo, what is up? Welcome to Ninja Geek Games. Head-to-head dueling card games are a popular genre with the likes of Magic, but what puts me off is the limitless volume of cards available. I prefer more self-contained card games playable right out the box with perhaps only a few small adjustments thanks to some expansions. Heroes of Thargos from Cursed Empire is just that, a dueling card game that allows deck construction but requires strategic management of cards. This is a gritty fantasy game within a dark setting where your party of heroes seek glory for their order, guild or household. Now, as well as being a two-player dueling game, Heroes of Thargos can be played multiplayer, solo, and even part of an epic campaign with some RPG elements. If you want to take a look at the rules for these game modes, then fortunately I have a learn to play video for you on my channel, so you're not going to need this. I'm going to need that back. In this game, each player selects a party of 4 brave heroes during a time of war that can be equipped with a variety of weapons, armour and trinkets. Or, if you fancy a pet cat or friendly frog, heroes can also attach familiars in preparation of taking on dangerous missions that provide victory points. But don't get complacent. If you think your opponent will sit back and watch you claim mission cards, then you are very much mistaken. They will attempt to defend missions at specific locations where both players will look to utilise allies in the form of hideous monsters and creatures as action cards or to modify hero stats. If you're able to gain a specific number of victory points by chain linking abilities and through tactical play, then you win the game and can claim the glory that you sought. Let's take a look. The game comes with 4 different types of cards. Hero cards make up your party for each game and come in the form of great warriors, powerful sorcerers and deadly assassins. When creating your party of hardened warriors, you choose any 4 characters. They all have a unique special ability, so you may want to choose those that suit your playstyle or link well with other characters that you've selected. Each card has a character point value that in some respects dictates how powerful they are. At the start of the game, you sum the value of all characters in your party, and this is the total value of victory points that you need in order to win the game. All of the characters have 3 different stats to include might, mind and mysticism that are used when taking on missions, as well as a faction symbol that only applies when playing with the advanced rule set, and each is double-sided with an injured side on the reverse. Lasting cards represent the special equipment, minions and weapons that can be attached to heroes during play that modify their stats in some way and may even include a special ability or passive effect. The green cards are powerful actions that all provide an ability to drastically affect the game in some way, and mission cards represent dangerous quests or a map location that provide victory points as well as a reward once gained. These mission cards may have 1 or more stat values that provide a bonus modifier to the character defending the location. Not including character cards, all other types of cards have a played as modifier value in the top right corner that is used to boost character stats when they attempt or defend a mission. That's it. The game consists of just 4 different types of cards that make up the 200 or so that you'll find in the box, where only the lasting, mission and action cards make up your deck. The artwork throughout is incredible and the lore on the cards is immersive and thematic. The game is very simple to play but difficult to master. You first need to construct your 60 card deck consisting of 20 mission, lasting and action cards. Some of these are unique in that you can only have 1 copy of that card in your deck, but for others you can have multiple copies. Cursed Empire do provide examples of pre-constructed decks, which is great, although this can be time consuming, but developing them yourself does allow you to learn the deck. But if you are feeling particularly saucy, you can randomly select cards of each type and get straight into the game. Once your deck is constructed, you now need to create a party of 4 characters. As there are 33 character cards in the game, there is a vast array of party combinations. You just need to decide who to select. This is a really fun part of the game, as there is so much choice and all have special abilities like gaining bonuses to stats if you take on a particular type of mission, whereas others can provide healing or gain multiple lasting cards with 1 action of a specific type. Not only that, you also need to take your victory point requirement into consideration. Each card has a character point value, and the sum of the party's value indicates how many victory points you need to claim from mission cards in order to win the game. Take on characters with low values and their stats or abilities are relatively weak. But choose high cost cards and you'll need a mountain of victory points in order to win the game. This means that each player may have a vastly different strategy even before the game begins, although you can decide to agree on a fixed value. Once you've created a strong deck and formidable party, you're ready to play. Each turn you get to attach a lasting card to one of your characters to buff stats, and as the game progresses your characters become stronger. You can then play an action card or take on a mission where both players will get the chance to add additional cards from their hand to boost their character stats. If you win, you claim the mission card and the associated victory points, but if you lose, the opponent has successfully defended the mission attempt and your character becomes injured. The play area is split into 4 tracks, each containing 1 mission card and 1 character from each player. Generally, these characters will stay in place competing for control of the mission card between the two, although some abilities may allow movement of characters into different tracks and mission cards will be replaced over time. Your turn is simple. First you get to play 1 lasting card from hand and attach to a character. These represent equipment and weapons and will change the base value of one or more of the character's base stats. As the game progresses, each character will gain more and more attachments, bolstering stats and gaining special abilities, so placement will become important. You can also play an action card from hand that are pretty powerful events, such as removing attachments from the opponent's characters, allowing heroes to switch positions on the track, or searching for cards in your discard pile. Instead, you can attempt a mission, which is the only way to gain the sought after victory points. First, you select the mission you wish to claim and determine which stats the mission card shows, which will be might, mind or mysticism in any combination. For each stat shown on the mission card, the attacker adds up the matching values on their character and all attached lasting cards. Then the defender does the same, but they also get to add the stat values on the mission cards as a defensive bonus. Now, in order to claim the mission card, the attacker must equal or beat the defender's value for each stat shown on the mission card. But before that, each player also gets to play cards from hand as modifiers using the PAM values. These are placed down in separate stacks and should be marked with a coloured token or die matching the stat that they're applied to. These PAM cards are revealed at the same time and the stat values are recalculated to determine if the attacker or the defender won. Now, this may seem pretty simple, but actually it's a highly strategic game. Firstly, your decision on where to place lasting cards as attachments is very important, as you'll want to boost the right character at the right time, and perhaps the lasting card's ability complements that of your character. Then, do you play an action card or attempt a mission, because you can only do one. Action cards are great at weakening the opponent or giving you the edge over your opponent for that turn, but mission cards provide the victory points needed to win the game. Also, attempting to claim a mission requires forward planning and is a little risky because failure can result in an injured character. During your turn, the opponent's character gets to add bonus stat values from the mission card to its own, on top of its lasting cards, and this needs to be taken into consideration. Now, in order to win the mission card, you must equal or beat the opponent character stat values in all areas shown on the mission. So, if the mission card shows only might and mind, you don't need to bother about mysticism, but you do get to play cards from hand as modifiers to character stats, both of you. However, this is where you need to be cunning. Firstly, the opponent can only play modifier cards to a specific stat if you did. So if you are drawing at this stage, do not place PAM cards to boost the stat. There's no need. Secondly, don't throw in cards as overkill. Be cautious. This is because you won't draw cards until your next turn. So if the other player attempts a mission in their turn, you may have no cards left to play as modifiers, and they'll know this and likely take advantage of it. As well as providing victory points, each mission card will reward you with an immediate effect that can turn the tides of battle at the right time, which is great. The game ends when the first player has gained the required value of victory points based on the characters that form the party. The game is a slow burner to start with, but soon ramps up with notable mission attempts, and you can even develop a little engine builder of sorts by activating abilities of characters, lasting cards, mission and action cards at the right time, which is very rewarding to do. The game can also be played solo, which is challenging but does replicate a player very well. Here you play against the rival. The AI has an attitude, not that it answers back and is stubborn, but dictates how aggressive or defensive it is when attempting or defending a mission. This attitude will change over time, so you too need to adjust your strategy to reflect this. How the rival places lasting cards and decides on which missions to attempt is decided by a dice, but provides a number of clever options, not just random assignment, and this can make them stronger when playing modifier cards during missions, which is pretty awesome. Story mode is a great variant of the game that introduces some RPG elements in a progressive, open world format of sorts. Here you can make use of some very detailed and well designed campaigns from Cursed Empire, although you are encouraged to create your own. Mission cards are laid out in a specific path that tell a story. Perhaps the first few missions take place in a city where you need to escape to the wild. When you attempt a mission here, the opponent can choose to defend as normal and gets to choose the character from their party. Or they can decide to allow the Thargos universe to throw some shade by using dice to modify the mission stats the attacker must defeat. What's great here is this game comes with a map layout made for mission cards that provides alternate routes where you can use tokens or miniatures to represent the location of your party. When you complete a mission, you move to the next, or it can deviate so you can choose where to go. There are side quests that can be picked up, and some missions provide a secret lasting card attachment as a reward for completion that you can equip immediately, which is awesome. There is also an expansion already available that provides a horde of undead cards to include zombie minions to attach as lasting cards, or dark necromancers to add to your party of characters with some pretty brutal action cards. Regardless of which game mode you play, you are in for a rich and deep experience. You certainly need to give the game a chance after your first play to really see how play develops and the best way to make use of cards and when to attempt missions at the right time. The designer of the game is experienced in creating immersive and thematic RPGs and has done a wonderful job with Heroes of Thargos. If you are looking for a competitive dark fantasy game, then certainly check this out. This is Ninja Geek Games. Cheers.